Well, good evening once again, and welcome to our Mastery Monday. Our focus is thriving in the digital economy of the future, and our topic is how you can design your own financial future and build sustainable financial security. That may sound a little bit cliche because, I mean, how many Zoom presentations have you been on, or how many financial opportunities that you have participated in over the years that promised financial security, financial freedom? And well, if you're here today looking to improve your financial future, well, those opportunities, many of them are good. I have been through many myself. Good companies, excellent products. Um, it worked in measure, but when it comes to financial security or financial freedom, there are very few that actually make it to that place. Question is, why is it so difficult for us to have financial security? I mean, real financial security. Well, this presentation tonight is not like any of those presentations. This is unlike any that you might have been um, privileged to hear, see, or be a part of. And what I'm sharing with you tonight is not for you so much to join a company or business as much as it is to introduce to you a new way to participate in the economy. There is a fundamental difference there. I want to introduce to you a new way to participate in the economy that will change your financial future. I am not a financial advisor, or I'm not here to give any investment recommendations, but I am here to show you and guide you through a journey tonight that I believe will bring you to a place that I hope will resonate with you because it, like it has for myself and for many others, it can change your financial future in significant ways. And this is not with the promise or the hope that it may be that way. This is a solution as to how that can actually happen. And so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Before we get really started into the presentation, if you are really serious about creating financial freedom, I want you to consider these four questions. And there is a reason why I'm asking you to do this. In your own time, you should make the time to write down your answers. You won't be able to do that now because this is not an interactive session, but you're going to find out shortly why this is really important. The first one is, what number represents financial freedom for you? I'm talking about an amount of money. It usually would be at least six figures, but what number would represent financial freedom for you? Do you know what that is? If every debt you have was paid off tomorrow, how much money would you need each month to live the life you truly desire? Think about that. If that amount arrived every month continuously, would you consider yourself to be financially free? And the last one is, how likely is it to become a reality if your current path remains the same? Now, the reason why it is important for us to do this is because we are not conditioned by the economy and the systems around us to think in these ways. And it's a struggle. I'm asking you this because I want you to recognize the struggle we have to clearly recognize what these numbers are. But it's important that we do recognize what these numbers are. And I just want us to be aware of the struggle of that. If we are to become financially free, if financial freedom is to move from just being a concept to being a reality, then we need to be able to understand how this really works. When you cannot, what you cannot define, you cannot design. And if we're going to design our financial futures, we need to be able to define what that is. And what you cannot define, you're rarely going to achieve. For us to develop financial freedom, there are at least three pillars that it must be built on. The first one is free access to money. We must be in a position where there is no stress, no anxiety, or wondering where money is going to come from. We have to be in that position. Many of us are not. Secondly, the income must be sustainable. There must be a continuous flow of income that is continuously growing over time. And thirdly, we must have control over the direction of our financial future. Our financial future must be up to us to decide and to choose how it's going to go, not someone else. I want us to be able to see within this. We're talking about money that we have access to that is continuously flowing and growing, and we get to determine the direction of our future. The vast majority of people on this planet are not in this position. But here's the truth. If we are to become truly financially free, these three pillars are necessary. They are necessary. And when they can exist simultaneously, we are now on a path to financial freedom. You see, these three pillars are encompassed within the five immutable laws of sustainable wealth. And these laws may not be familiar to everyone, but let's look at them. The first law is value creation. We need to be able to create value, and all of us can because we all have ideas and skills and talents and creativity, things that we bring to the world, things that we bring to the market. And so we must be able to create value. The second law is there must be ownership of that value so that we can have the sovereignty to choose how the potential of that value is going to grow. We must be the ones that have that choice. If we can choose how it's going to grow, then we can get to the third law, which is leverage. Leverage is how we are able to grow and scale and increase it without increasing our effort. That's what leverage is. And once leverage begins to happen and there is growth and scale, then leverage automatically extends into compound growth, law number 4, where growth begins to accelerate because the more it expands, the greater it expands. And so that exponential growth now takes us into a place where we can now have stewardship or where we can reinvest back into value. Where the value started, we can reinvest into that or new sources of value. What I want us to see is that this is a cycle, a self-sustaining cycle, that when you reinvest, then it grows again and it continues to grow. This is how sustainable wealth is built. It doesn't matter what economy or what system you might be a part of. If these 5 laws are not built into it, then you do not have the recipe or the formula for not wealth, but sustainable wealth. This is the reality of where a good man leaves an inheritance for his children, for your grandchildren. The wealthy today know how to do that. The vast majority of us, this has not been our experience. But this tonight is the journey that we're on. Now, within these 5 laws, while we all have value to bring to the world, where most of us get stuck is at law number 2. Because law number 2 is the doorway that takes us in to the rest of the laws and takes us through the cycle of perpetual growth of value. And I'm saying value as opposed to money, but it's one and the same. Unless we can get through that doorway of law number two, unless we are positioned to own. And when I say own, I'm not talking about ownership from the point of view of accumulating stuff, but owning value where you get to choose what happens to that value, how its potential is optimized, and how it grows. The choice must be ours. Because the simple reality is this: if we cannot own the source of our income, then we do not have control over our financial future. Remember the three pillars. If someone else owns the source of our income, then that person owns our financial future. Now, this takes us into a place of understanding and into a journey that will bring us right back to how we can employ this in our lives. Just listen to this short by this lady because she makes some very good pertinent points that's relative to this. It's just a minute. Take a listen.
You will never be rich until you realize wealthy people never have jobs. Read that again. The rich do not trade time for money. They own things, businesses, assets, equity, attention. Because the moment your income depends on you showing up, you are not free. You are rented. And most people spend their entire lives making somebody else richer. They go to school, get the degree, get the job, work the hours, ask for permission, wait for weekends, wait for retirement, and they call that security. It's not security, it's dependence. Wealthy people think differently. They build businesses, they buy assets, they create systems that make money even when they are sleeping, traveling, or doing absolutely nothing. Real estate, stocks, digital products, brands, licensing, online businesses. That is how wealth is built. And no, this is not about being lucky. It's about financial education. Because the biggest difference between broke people and wealthy people is not effort, it's understanding. Understanding money, understanding leverage, understanding ownership, understanding how to make your skills pay you more than once. That's why one person works for 40 years and stays stuck, while another builds one asset and gets paid over and over again. If your paycheck stops when you stop working, you are still in survival mode. If you want freedom, stop asking how to get paid more and start asking what you can own.
Now, that's a question that showed up on an earlier slide, and I want to just bring back to your awareness. That's the question that we often ask. How can I earn more money? But that may not be the right question. Now, going back to the four questions that you started with in the beginning, why we struggle to come up with those figures is because, one, we're not accustomed to these laws and how they work, but instead we are conditioned by this system instead. It's called the debt-based monetary system. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but what we are not aware of, we cannot change. And we need to be aware of this system that we are, for the most part, entrapped within unconsciously. And if we are not aware, it's difficult to break free of it. And we will spend our years going through this cycle of survival. We work, we spend, we borrow, we repeat. And that's the cycle many people live through. And so it's called the debt-based monetary system because the system that runs the economies of our world relies on debt in order for the system to work. I want that to sink in because we're trying to get out of debt, be financially free, but within a system that requires debt for the system to work, and we get entrapped in it. How many opportunities or businesses we've tried and we're still looking for that freedom. See, in this system, most people focus on how can I earn more money? But financially free people focus on what produces the money. If you're looking to how to earn more money, that's like looking for the fruit. That's looking for where can I buy some more apples? Where can I find a tree that I can pick more apples so I can be, say healthier, call that the money. But the wealthy looks to see where can I get the seeds to plant the trees that I can have a forest. What produces the money, not how can I earn more money. But the system causes us to think this way. I'm just going to quickly run through just so that we can become aware and see why we need, unless we step outside of this cycle, financial freedom and financial security is really going to elude us. The cycle, to begin with, it requires credit or debt for the economy to grow. Isn't that interesting? Banks, governments, businesses, and individuals borrow money, and that is how money enters into the economy. If you go to the bank and you want to borrow some money to buy a car or a home, and they're going to give you a loan for whatever amount, it's not like they take money from a vault and put it into your account. They create the money out of thin air. They just type a figure into the computer. Now money has been created, and that goes into the economy. And now interest is added to that, and you now have to pay that money with real money that you earn on your job, and so on. Once people borrow, institutions borrow, once credit goes into the system, it requires that productivity increases along with it. More goods, more services, more innovation and infrastructure, more value must be created equal to the borrowing. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. And when that does not happen, and credit outpaces productivity, it creates number four, which is inflation. Because there's more money going out and more money is chasing fewer goods, and that causes the cost of living or higher prices. $1 or what a dollar could have bought 5 years ago, it's not going to buy that same thing today. That's inflation. Now, when that happens, what is your option? Your option is on the other side. This is the path of dependency. You now need to find more money. You need more income because the rising costs. So that means and more work, second job. We have to look for more output so that we can earn more, or we need to extend our credit so that we can fill the gap and survive. And that puts us into a place, number three, where we live paycheck to paycheck. This is the cycle that 70% of people on the planet live through. That creates increased financial stress. And in this whole scenario, the one that strikes me the most is number four, because our quality of life, our health, our relationships, so many things are affected because of this cycle that we are all entrapped into. And it creates this long-term dependency. And so imagine that there is a system, the economic textbooks, the banking literature calls it a debt-based monetary system because it needs debt to cycle. Imagine this for a minute, that everyone didn't have any debt. If there was no debt, the system collapses. Now, how are you to become financially free within a system that requires debt to keep the wheels turning? It is set up in such a way that your wages will never keep pace with inflation. And inflation will never get to a place of being zero because productivity never equals the amount of credit that's out there. And if you knew the system or if you do your research, you'll see that the majority of money 70% of the money that moves in society is credit, is debt. And that is how our system works. If we don't step out of this, then we are not going to get to the place that we want to get to. Now, this is what I want to leave with you concerning the debt-based monetary system. This is why we struggle to answer those questions in the beginning, because this has conditioned our thinking, where many of us believe that we really cannot become financially free. We don't believe that we can become wealthy. We think it's for the select few, that is for the privileged, for those who are the lucky one. That's not so. What we don't understand is that we are in a system that's designed to keep us in a cycle. So the question now is not, how do I earn more money? The question is, how do I participate in an economy from a different place? How do I access what's producing the money? I'm not looking for the fruit. I'm looking for the seed that produces the fruit. And where does this come from? How did we get into this? Well, it happened because of these shifts that took place in money. But here's the good news. In 2026, we're at a place where all of this is beginning to change. And for us to fully appreciate how we could step in to a new economy where we could access the 5 laws of sustainable wealth, where we can build the 3 pillars of financial freedom, we have to understand that in history, there were 2 times in our lifetimes where the global monetary system changed, and it changed the whole economy of the world. It was in 1944 when the US dollar was made the reserve currency, and they used gold to back the US dollar, and that gave its value. Back then, inflation was not what it was because money actually had something that gave it value. Then in 1971, President Nixon shocked the world, which is why it's referred to in history as the Nixon shock. By EO, he removed the gold from backing the dollar, and now the US dollar now became pure fiat currency. Nothing to give it value. You now have to trust the economy. You now have to trust the government. And this is where economic changes begin to take place that brought us to where we are today. It's inside of here that the debt-based monetary system was created. And today, you and I are participating in this without our choice because it's the way the system is designed. In 2026, the world is going through another global major monetary shift. And the same thing is going to happen, meaning that it's going to change the entire global economy and how things are going to work. Now, notice this. In 1944, when that new monetary system was established, it created opportunities that made millionaires. When Nixon changed the gold standard and shifted it in 1971, over those years, the economy developed in such a way that it created billionaires. In this digital era, where money is moving from fiat to digital currencies, in this era, the era of technology, of social media, of internet, of cell technology, in this era, we are now seeing trillionaires being made. The point here is money is becoming more and more accessible. I want us to grab that. The other thing that's happening is because of what's happening with this global monetary shift that's taking place, is that there is access to ownership on a scale that has never existed in the history of mankind. That's important. But that's something that's below the surface that Joe Public is not even being aware of, even though we are hearing in the news more and more this global financial shift that's taking place. We're not seeing below the surface. But I want us to know that this shift, just like it's not optimal with the debt-based monetary system, we just fall right into that system, the same thing happens here. This is not, do we have a choice to participate in it? We are going to be part of the system. The only question is, are we going to be part of the system as it is forming and position ourselves well, or are we going to do it later on when the world is now adopting and waking up to it, when it's going to be more of an upstream paddle to function within that system, as most people find it today with the debt-based monetary system. Every monetary shift that has ever taken place creates new opportunities, and it is only those who are aware and get to take advantage of it. This is where generational wealth can be created. Now, I am going to show you as we go through how you can create generational wealth. This is not hype of any kind. This is going to be a reality that as we get to the end, you're going to see, and it's going to be up to you if what I share resonates with you, if you're going to do anything about it. So the future of money is tokenized digital currencies. Government legislation has been set for that. That has been laid down. The IMF, which was birthed in the 1944 formation, they're saying that digital money, that is the future of money. The for International Settlements, which is the central bank of all central banks, let us know that the central banks are all adopting towards digital currencies. 91% of central banks are doing it. This digital adoption, it is beginning to accelerate really quickly, faster than people are realizing, and a lot of us are sleepwalking right into this new era. 98% of global GDP is represented by countries exploring their own digital currencies, and some countries have already released them, and a couple of central banks have already released it. 25% of the most major banks in this world are now participating in SWIFT, the SWIFT banking network. Many of us are familiar with that. Their next generation digital payment network, which is a blockchain infrastructure, all the banks that are connected to it, which are the banks all across the world, they all now have to integrate. And so from next month, the process starts. This is happening right now. Why is the world shifting towards that? Because it is a better financial system, it's a better financial structure, and it's going to provide a better financial future for more people than it was possible in the past. But we have to be aware. Financial inclusion has now become a reality where the unbanked can now participate in banking and financial services because of this shift. There is low cost and friction. And I remember hearing Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, that's the largest bank here in America, he said on a news clip, we moved $16 trillion in one day. That's impossible through the current banking institution. But because of this technology and blockchain networks, they were able to do that, and it saved them billions of dollars in fees. In fact, let me just tell you that the largest bank in this country, they're all now coming together with a new initiative that's going to be launched next year, where they're all creating their own digital tokenized money. In fact, JP Morgan launched their own last year. So tokenization is the concept that you need to be familiar with. It's going to become the buzzword of the future because it's what's shaping the future of digital finance. Tokenization simply is how money and real world assets are converted into digital tokens and secured on blockchain networks. So we now have tokenized money. We now have tokenized assets, real world assets. That's all over the world. It's happening as we speak. We now, because of this digital technology, it's now programmable finance from the perspective that it is now automated, and we can now access automated income. You'll hear a little bit more about that. But this is the big news in it for us. Because of this global monetary shift, We now have greater access to money, to ownership, to investment opportunities on a global scale that we never had before. And so the digital finance that's reshaping the global economy, I want to point out to us there are 5 dimensions that's driving this shift. And I'm taking us on a journey because it's all going to come together. We have the governance, legislation has been laid out, and the entire world is going that way. The technology, which is blockchain technology, which is now reshaping the internet to what they call Web3, that now enables decentralized ownership. That means there is no central authority to govern who will own what inside of that structure. There is DeFi, which is short for decentralized finance, which is inside of that blockchain world. And this is what brings financial inclusion to those that are unbanked, making financial services and money more accessible. Then there is access to assets, to ownership in ways that never existed before. And it brings us to the 5th one, which is community. This is where you and I and the world comes in. And this is what the majority of people who may be aware that we're going through a digital financial shift, they're not aware of this part. And that is average people like you and I, communities around the world can now participate in ownership, in assets, in money, in ways that we never had access to before, that the wealthy participate in. We can now participate at the same table with them. And so the greatest shift in this financial era is the democratization of ownership, meaning anyone can participate now. That's why it's important for us to be aware. And this is our opportunity to step out of the debt-based cycle. This evolution that's taking place, it is the greatest transfer of wealth in history to average people. All these 5 elements have brought it to that place. And this is for us to recognize now. What does that mean? Anyone can own valuable assets without the need for large capital now. You're going to see that in a minute, how that can work. We have open access to owning infrastructure and owning systems. Owning infrastructure. Somebody may own the water, just as an analogy, that flows through to your home, but you could own part of the plumbing that it flows through it and benefit from what flows through it. You can now own systems that generate income and value automatically. A good example I like to give is Netflix. Netflix is a system, a streaming system of media, video. Over 300 million people are subscribers to Netflix. Netflix has a minimum subscription of $10. That's the smallest one. That means over $3 billion stream into their account automatically. It doesn't require any manpower. It's an automated system. That's available on greater scales for us today. Here's the thing we have never had before. You can decide how much your income can be and how sustainable you want it to last. You should sit on that for a minute, because never in the history of mankind have we had this type of autonomy or sovereignty over our finances, where we can participate at the same table as the wealthy. And more than that, we can decide how much income, how sustainable, and we can be receiving it every day on a recurring basis for life. We've not even heard this kind of language before. But this is the world that we're in. This is where we're at this point in time. And here's the thing. How could we access this? Let me tell you. These 5 dimensions, together with the 5 laws, the 5 immutable laws of sustainable wealth, we can now tap into that And I have been fortunate 6 months ago to be introduced to a company that when I invested into it, I had no idea 6 months later what what it was going to be. And today, it is my pleasure to share it with you. Why? Because of what I'm experiencing and what I have experienced. And here is what I've discovered. These 5 dimensions that shaping the world, along with the 5 laws of sustainable wealth, is what this company is bringing to the world to offer our rich people a chance at financial security. It's a system unlike anything that existed before, and this company is leading the world in digital finance. The company is called Metaterra, and they are shaping the future of digital finance. This is where you and I get to own the value that can change our financial future. They are a holding company with over 20 companies under their umbrella. And one of their primary companies is called Bellator or Bellator Life. Bellator is their fintech or financial technology gateway into the miracle ecosystem. Like an ecosystem, why an ecosystem? Because an ecosystem functions as one integrated unit. And this ecosystem is a global economic architecture where technology, ownership, and value converge to create shared prosperity. These are ideas that are new to many of us, but it is uniting technology and ownership and value into a system that is so unified that all who participate, one thing happens: there is shared prosperity. So I want you to know, and I'm not telling you about something that you can be a part of that you may or may not make it financially. I'm saying that once you step into this reality, one thing happens. You're going to become financially successful. Why? Because it's built on immutable laws. It's a system that's based on laws that only one thing happens, just like gravity. Throw an object in the air, one thing happens, it will fall. Connect those 5 laws into a system that is unified, one thing happens: wealth is built and it's shared prosperity. Here's the question: who's this company? Who's behind it? How strong are they? How valid? How credible? How can I build a future on this? Who are these people? Well, first of all, we have gained enough credibility um, that to position us in a way, as you're going to see, that people are going to be talking about us all across this world very shortly. Our we're built on a very solid foundation of corporate accountability because we are a publicly traded NASDAQ listed company. We have been through the full requirements and we are now just waiting for our ticker to be uplisted. What does that mean? It means that we are an open book. We are under the scrutiny of the regulatory bodies of the government. We have to be publicly open, like all publicly traded companies, NASDAQ listed companies, like our technology companies, like the Googles and the Amazons and the Microsoft, just as they have to do, we have to do. And Metaterra, they give the corporate governance and the strategic oversight for all the companies under their umbrella and their global growth. We have a global footprint. We have logistic offices in 13 countries, recently opened 2 offices in Africa, and we're the only blockchain crypto enterprise that have physical stores. There are 3 locations in the EU, and we're about to open our first location here in the United States. Our credibility has also given us a prominent place at this year's Stablecoin Conference, which is going to be later this month in Mexico. We are proud to be a sponsor at that. And the keynote speaker, Hakan Turhan, is the CEO of Metaterra. And his background in banking, in blockchain infrastructure, in legal affairs has positioned him where he has been invited to be the keynote speaker there. But it has to be more than that. It has to be more than him if this company is going to be credible enough to take us into the future. So behind him, there's a world-renowned executive team of leadership. Hakan, he's the visionary, the CEO that had this vision back in 2017, where he started building Miracle Technologies. Along the way, he was joined by Mr. Micah Thierd. Mr. Micah Thierd, his expertise is in global expansion and global markets. And he bought into the vision with Hakan, and together they've been building Miracle Technologies over the last several years. They attracted the attention of Mr. Douglas Anderson, who is an icon on Wall Street. He's the CEO of Wall Street Capital Partners. He did not only was attracted for the services, being in the financial industry, his company partnered with Metaterra. Along with him is Mr. Stephen Norris. Mr. Stephen Norris is world renowned in the world of financial markets and finance. He's the founder of and the CEO of Cedar Capital. He's also the founder of the Carlyle Group, a powerhouse private equity company that involves companies like BlackRock and Vanguard and so on. These men they have decades steeped into the financial arena. Mr. Russ Gerson of the Gerson Group. He was also vice chairman of the Citigroup. So I'm talking about people, if you were to look them up, these are people that are well established and well renowned in their areas. They have behind them a global strategic advisory board with very stellar people as well. I don't want to take the time to go through all of them, but you can look them up. Mr. Stephen Moore, I would mention him because the caliber of this gentleman, he is one of the foremost economists in the United States. In fact, he was appointed to chair the Federal Reserve in the first Trump administration. Mr. John Bear, he is a technology pioneer. He was at the beginning of cell phone technology. He was the founder of Widevine that built the technology that was then acquired by Google and is part of Google's backbone. He's the architect of streaming technology that set the global standards. Monica Profit, she's the author of the book Blockchain 101. And we have a very powerful, stellar group of experienced people. This is not a bunch of entrepreneurs trying to make something work. These are people that are well connected globally at the highest levels. Behind them are a board of directors of the individual companies under the Metaterra umbrella, and a whole team and the teams of engineers that keep our ecosystem and our global infrastructure in order. They have created the Miracle ecosystem. And this is just to give you an indication of what it is about and what it comprises of. It is literally a wealth creation engine. It's an economic engine that builds wealth. But here's the beautiful thing. They have designed it for individual participation. This entire infrastructure, if you look to the left, these are the major platforms that comprise the ecosystem: payment systems, consumer credit, tokenization, banking services, trading platforms, gaming platforms, enterprise onboarding, e-commerce. It is a global financial system of every type of financial product you can think about. And it is run at the very core. Our Miracle Chain blockchain infrastructure is what powers the entire global network. The beautiful thing about this and the unique thing about it is it is all about ownership. An ownership-based ecosystem where every participant shares in the value of what this whole system creates. So remember the five laws, there's value creation. What's creating the value? Metaterra, a Miracle ecosystem, is solving real world needs and solving the problems of the global economy today. As we are going through this new evolution, into a digital economy. We get to own the structure of this very system. That's wild. That's mind blowing. This whole system is based on ownership, and you get to see how that happens. And so the system, it generates revenue. There are platforms within the system where we can leverage and expand, where we grow and compound. And this is actually a self-sustaining system of economic growth. You're not going to get the full picture here, but you get to see that the way how they've designed it, it's so beautiful that everyone who participates, every service that you see here, every transaction that happens within all those services, those who participate in this, they're benefiting from every sector. We benefit from the entire economy. Why? Because the entire economy is based on ownership. Who owns it? You, me, and people all over the world own it. That's the system that they have designed. So there's distributed value, there's lifestyle rewards where we earn travel and hotel and different things. We have a strong ecosystem. Now, this is one that is built for generational wealth. Why? Because it's a self-sustaining system built on the laws of sustainable wealth. And what's the product that they're offering? Money. It's in the financial service system. And so, what I'm going to do to show how it works for you and I'm just going to highlight these two payment systems because we spend money every day, so we can relate to that. And I want to talk about tokenization because that's the engine, the economic engine that is reshaping global finance today. So, how do you and I step into this? Well, there are three ways we can do it. First, there is no money that's required to enter the ecosystem. There's no money that you have to put down. You can register for free and you can learn and earn. You could actually earn access to ownership of assets, infrastructure, systems. You can work your way to owning that without having the money. That might be a little bit of a longer way, but they've made a way available that if a person says, I don't have it, well, you can still come in, you can use exactly what I have available to me as an investor. You have exactly the same thing available to you, and you can work your way in. The second way is node assets. This is where you can own assets now and start earning the very next day. And you are earning lifetime, passive, recurring income paid every day for the rest of your life when you own this type of asset. You'll get to understand how that works in a minute. The third way is the Alpha Pass. This is where you can enter with assets, and this is where you can scale and build at an accelerated or on a greater level. This is where you want to amplify your growth. This is the place that for those who really want to run with it. That's it for that. I'm going to just talk about those of us who just want to own the assets and let the assets work for us, where we don't have to be engaged with too much with those what we call our passive investors. You just own assets within the system and the assets do the earning for you. So I'm just going to look at this as it relates to the two platforms that I talked about, payment systems and the tokenizing projects. So let's look at Miracle Pay. Miracle Pay is a revolutionary payment gateway that blends traditional finance and payment systems with the digital crypto economy. With this system, which is the largest crypto payment gateway in the world right now, that supports over 200 types of cryptocurrencies. Is this something that is needed today in the world? Is it filling a need? Absolutely. Why? Because there are trillions of dollars in cryptocurrencies in wallets around the world, and the world is now shifted into digital currencies because it's now legal tender. Now the world has a way that they can actually function with it as familiar as with a regular debit credit card or how you may tap your phone with Apple Pay, and it converts cryptocurrencies instantly into the fiat currency of your country. And so that has happening around the world. That's our payment system, which is called Miracle Pay. It is preloaded into millions of point of sale terminals and online checkouts all around the world. This short video will give us and some insight to that. It's just about a minute and a half.
You've probably heard the saying, if only I were early. Early to Bitcoin, early to Amazon, early to Tesla. Well, here it is again. But this time, it's not about hype. It's about owning the rails of a new financial system. Introducing CPU nodes, digital assets that earn daily from real crypto transactions happening worldwide. Every time someone pays with crypto, in-store or online, a small fee powers the network. And if you own a node, you get paid. These nodes are already paying every single day in a digital currency undervalued today, but set to explode in the months ahead. We've secured contracts with 4 global terminal providers, giving us access to over 100 million active merchants. And we're also integrated with major online retailers, processing billions each month. When even a small percentage of that volume transacts in crypto, node rewards skyrocket. The system is active. Payouts have begun. We're funding our aggressive expansion, not with Wall Street, but with everyday people like you. Together, we're decentralizing wealth. By owning the new infrastructure of money, timing is everything. Own a node now and earn every day for life.
So what you gather from that is that a node is digital, it's a digital asset, it's software, it's part of the payment system, and that every time transactions are made, fees are paid, and we get, those of us that own nodes that belong to this system, we get to earn from those fees. But there's more to it than that you're going to see in a minute. The 4 global terminal providers are these: Ingenico, Pax, Verifone, and NCR, that we have contracts with them, and our software is preloaded into their systems. They account for about 160 million merchants in about 150 countries. We actually have the largest payment network around the world that our software is preloaded into. Now, do you get the picture? The world is now shifting into digital currencies. We have a payment system. It was launched in February. The company's projected on merchant onboarding has been surpassed already. We are escalating in the world coming on board with our payment systems. So now, how does that relate to you building your financial future? Let me show you. The global infrastructure of the blockchain network is built on central processing units. That's your CPU nodes, their software. These nodes, they're validating, recording, and securing the transaction across the network, just like it would be for Visa, MasterCard, and the others. When we own the CPU nodes, it means that we own the digital real estate of the blockchain infrastructure that powers the global network. So get it, see the picture. There are multiple financial services that we have on a global scale. We have a core banking switch that moves these transactions around. And it is powered completely on a blockchain infrastructure. The blockchain infrastructure is built on these CPU nodes. When you own a CPU node, you're owning the real estate of the infrastructure. This is where wealth in the crypto world really is. When we say own it, you own it. When you purchase it, you legally own it. Not even the company can take it from you. You can sell it back to them. You can sell it to someone else. You can will it. You can transfer it, but you own it for life. And once you own it, then every time transactions are made, in this particular case, we're talking about the payment platform, the payment system. There are nodes that will run and be associated with other sectors of the ecosystem. We're talking about the Miracle Pay nodes now. And how it works is like this. Every time a transaction is made, someone taps their phone, swipes a card, the fee is charged, and it's not my node validating it and your node recording it. All the nodes, which are hundreds of thousands of nodes across the globe, all owned by individuals. It is owned by a global economy. It is everybody's node is validating the same transaction, which is what makes blockchain so secure and transparent. And so all the fees that may come in a given period, it's shared evenly among all of those who own the nodes. I want you to listen to this minute short. This gentleman, his name is Billy Warmack. They call him the node guy in the crypto world. He's not associated with our company, but he says something that sheds a lot of light onto the potential of what nodes can do. So just take a listen.
Did make millions of dollars in crypto, but I don't trade crypto and I don't buy crypto. I make it. So I started making Bitcoin at $220. That in itself is crazy. So we started mining Bitcoin. We were making a lot of money. We were like, man, if Bitcoin ever gets to $10,000, we're going to be rich. This guy that was mentoring me, he was worth $100 million. I became one of his top guys. And at that time, I didn't know anybody worth that kind of money. It just sounds preposterous to the average person. For the next 7 years, I learned software instead of hardware mining. So when you mine Bitcoin, you have a physical piece of machine. You plug it into the network. It confirms transactions, you make Bitcoin. On the platform that we launched, which was a company called Gala Games, we worked with Snoop, the death row chain that Snoop gave me, kind of crazy. And instead of hardware, we had software. So these software nodes will confirm transactions on the blockchain. Every time you buy something on that blockchain, sell something, move some money back and forth, there's a fee. That fee goes up in the cloud and it's split evenly between the node owners. So that very first blockchain that we launched, I only put 15,000 in. And for 2.5 years, those nodes just confirmed transactions. I had about 17 million tokens in my wallet. I watched it go from less than a penny to 5 cents, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 84 cents in a matter of like 5 months. So I went from $11,000 in software nodes to having over 11.4 million liquid currency.
So what I want you to get from that is that the nodes that he owned, they're validating the transaction. But what it's doing is that he said it's making the coins. It's actually producing the tokens, which is the cryptocurrency. And so the cryptocurrency in our chain, in our economy, is called the Phoenix token. This is unique, but what makes it so unique is that it's the only cryptocurrency of its kind that's tied to a banking infrastructure like ours, and it has high demand. That's important because demand is what creates the value. Currently, the Phoenix token is just a fraction of a penny. When it went onto the exchanges in the last quarter of 25, it has already increased in value by a few 100%. But now that the payment system has gone live all across Europe, North America, and about 8 countries in South America, and now that the system is being adopted, and as the world is shifting, it is going to increase in value. Why? It is tied to real-world transactional utility, payment systems, banking infrastructures, tokenizing projects. There is no cryptocurrency that exists on the planet today that has this type of real-world transactional utility. Think about what the value is going to happen with this. Now, so apart from receiving from the payment systems, part of it is that exactly what Billy was saying. The node produces tokens every day. Here's the thing. It will continue to produce the tokens for life. And you will continue to earn on transactions for life with this. If you were to look at, he said the amount of tokens he accumulated over 2.5 years, which translated into millions of dollars when it just went up to just a few cents. A Miracle Pay node produces 80 tokens a day. I can tell you, because I know the notes he had, the Gala notes, he would have had maybe more than 20 nodes with his $11,000 investment. He would have had more than 20 nodes. So the amount of coins he would have been producing. Now, this is what I just want you to see the potential. You are producing the token every day, and it's linked to a payment system that's paying you every day. And that is for life. You put the numbers to that, it may be very surprising to you of what the potential is. Over as the system becomes more and more adopted, all that happens is that your income continues to increase. That brings us to the second platform, which is called Equity Token, and this is what deals with our tokenizing projects. This is where you and I get to own real world assets from anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where we live, because on blockchain and with our community, it is borderless, as it is with other blockchain enterprises as well. Tokenization is where real world assets, you name it, real estate, stocks, bonds, gold, oil, it's all being tokenized right now. It's going on right now in the world. And it's called fractional ownership. And what it simply means, as an example, let's say there was a mall being sold for $10 million. And the seller decided he's going to sell it across a blockchain network. He's going to sell it into the digital space. So he creates 10 million tokens. Anyone, anywhere in the world can decide that they're going to buy fractions of that. If you have $500, for example, you could say, I'm going to buy 500 tokens. Now you own a fraction of that mall. So this mall can be owned fractionally by thousands of people all over the world. When that mall earns from all the shops that are in it, whatever earnings that mall bring in, whatever your 500 tokens represent, that's your income. You can that can also be used as real collateral in a bank for getting loans with our enterprise or with other institutions, because as of the 1st of April this year, all banks here in the United States are now have the green light to custody cryptocurrencies and digital assets. So we can now, from wherever we live, we can now own real world assets, stocks, bonds, gold, silver, property, things that were out of reach before are now in reach to the average person. Many of us are just not aware of it and understand how it works. So this is all new and we all have to learn. But here's one of the wonderful things about our ecosystem is the education that's inside of it that helps us to understand this world. Now, more than that, you can also own a node. It's called a Project X node, which deals with the tokenizing platform. This node produces more than 200 Phoenix token a day. Think about that. If the Phoenix token, when it gets to $1 in value, what that could mean. In addition to that, you're going to be earning between 16% to 15% dividends on all tokenized projects, and that's going to be for life. And so you begin to see the potential of what we were talking about, that you're inside of a system that is a self-sustaining engine, that we are actually stakeholders, and this is passively earning us. And there is more to it than what I'm telling you, but this is just for us to see that this is a financial solution that is so unique, where we can all participate from a point of view of ownership and passive income, recurring income, automated income, where we can now own high value real world assets that were out of reach us before. I'm going to come down to a conclusion by listening to just a 2-minute clip of this interview with our chairman on Wall Street.
I'm with the CEO of Wall Street Capital, Doug Anderson. Doug, welcome back. And I understand you have some news to break.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Wall Street Capital Partners has been around almost 30 years now. And I can't think of a better place and a better person to announce this news to. It's very exciting. a first in our history. But we have opened a new subsidiary, Wall Street Capital Partners Asset Strategies. And this new subsidiary is majority owned by Metaterra Holdings, which is associated with another company, which we know is Miracle Pay and Miracle Chain. Now, what does Miracle Pay, what are they known for? As I've explained before on this program, they are experts and leaders at payment systems for crypto. So using your wallet, paying with your phone, transactionally from POS machines and over the internet. So they're the leaders in that. There's another thing they do. They do tokenization. So they're experts at that. And as you know, we're now focused on tokenizing one of the largest real-world assets in the world, which is an airport in Bucharest. We're working hard at that. But there's another one that may even eclipse that, which is we're going to announce right now. It's very exciting. It's called a TINU token, after the founder of a very strong, probably one of the fastest growing companies in Africa that's very successful, an oil and gas company called Owando. And its founder and chairman and group leader is Wale Tinubu. So Tinubu token. And what this token represents is an African fund. We're tokenizing an African fund that is going to be backed by very substantial real-world assets out of Africa. And the first that is going to be inside that fund is we're going to start with $200 million worth of oil reserves from Owando. Mr. Tinubu has decided to move forward on putting those assets into this fund, and it'll be followed by about $1 billion in oil reserves. Now, this will be the first token of its kind.
The first token of its kind, which is really a stable coin. It is going to be, it's a digital currency of an African fund. And why I'm saying this is because in this new era that we're in, we are seeing there are major banks that are doing that. They need companies like ours to do it. It also gives us opportunities that are unprecedented in being able to access what? Money, new forms of money, when their values are low before they escalate in value. You see, money in this world, it's not created, it doesn't move, it's not increased, it's not managed the way it was in the debt-based fiat system. It's a very different world. In the news, you can look it up and you'll see that Amazon, Walmart, they're now exploring their own tokens as well. And so there's going to be some big announcements that's going to be coming in the very near future about our company and some partners of some big names that we may be familiar with that are also going to be partnering with us. And those announcements will be made very soon. But I just wanted us to get the sense in the picture that this opportunity to position ourselves where we can create financial security for our future is not just a concept anymore. It is more real than it has ever been before, because you and I now have the opportunity to step into a system of those 5 laws in a world that is now evolving, and we are at the beginning of it. The opportunities that we have available today, they're not going to be available in the distant future as this new age evolves. This, what's at the beginning, is eventually going to change. These are some of the assets that are available right now. We talked about the Miracle Pay node, this Project X node, there's a Guardian node, there's the Alpha Pass, which we mentioned. And I think that there's a discount right now on the Project X node. Your host that might have invited you to be part of the call, they can tell you about that. And there are these highly discounted packages here, and they represent multiple sources of income for you, where you can have 5 nodes, 7 nodes, and 9 nodes of the assortment there. And so this is income for life on a scale that might be quite mind-blowing if you put the figures together. And but your host can tell you about that. What I also wanted to emphasize before we close off is that this is not just about being part of a company that you're going to build a business, which you can do, but it's how to participate in this new emergent economy from the right place. Because the last time it happened and the debt-based system was created, we got caught up in the cycle of it, and we were positioning from the outside. This one, we get to position from the inside at the early stage while the system is now being created. And so to conclude, why you were invited here to participate in the new economy. This is not typical network marketing. This is economic expansion. We invite people to participate through ownership into this new economy. Bellator Life calls it Aladdin, AI leveraged, asset driven digital income network. And I didn't get into it, but AI is a big part of our infrastructure. And when I say it's not like traditional networking, you were invited here, as I said, to participate. But because we don't have consumable products, there is no ongoing selling that has to be done for you to earn, because the assets, they do the earning for us. And so there's no ongoing recruiting in the same sense. It is just shared access. We are inviting people to have access into this system. And as you heard earlier, you don't have to have even money to be able to enter in. We don't have monthly auto ships to qualify because we're stakeholders. There is no attrition for our income to depend on. In traditional networks, if people are falling out and people are not active, your income stops. This one, there's continuous flow-based income because there's no attrition in it. Why? Because it's built on ownership and assets. And there's no annual contractual renewals because we own the infrastructure. And for those of us, it's completely optional. But for those of us who engage in the expansion of the economy by inviting people to participate into this ownership-based system, we are rewarded. There's a compensation structure that gives us optional streams of digital income. And a lot of what the nodes are producing, a lot of what's happening inside the ecosystem is what provides the revenue for us that pays our commissions. In other words, the whole system is supporting this. So people always ask me if there is no ongoing sales and recruiting, how is the commissions being paid? The ecosystem fuels this for those who participate in it. So this is such a unique and wonderful system that allows us to be able to step into this new world that is emerging with a company that is solid, that is being led by iconic leaders, and we get to step into it at an early stage. And we get to do that owning the infrastructure. Ownership changes how value flows, and we get to now position ourselves to move from a centralized economy where we work within the system to one where we own the system, from where wealth flows upward to the wealthy, to where wealth that's coming into the economy circulates throughout the economy and everyone profits from it. And so this is no longer limited access. This is open access on a global scale. And so I invite you and I welcome you to join this revolution, this movement where ownership, technology, and people are coming together to experience shared prosperity. I think of myself as being fortunate to be among those who this was shared with months ago, and it's my honor and my privilege to have shared it with you. And I hope that you would have gotten something from this that would stir you up, because what I started with that led us to here, it's all one journey that will continue to take us into the future of financial success. With that, I want to say thank you for staying the course and being on the call. We're 18 minutes over what I hoped it would be, but I think you would have gotten the value for your time here. And I'm going to, as I say goodnight, I'm going to take us out with our Meta Terra anthem. And once again, you can speak with your host partner. They will be able to tell you what your next steps are and how to move forward from here. If you have questions, concerns about anything, the leadership is always available to help you. If your host partner is not able or is not knowledgeable enough at this point, we will be able to help you through with that. So with that, I want to say thank you. God bless you for being here, and we'll see you on the next round. We're going to be doing this again on Wednesday evening. So if you want to share this with anyone else and expose them to a new way to participate in the emerging economy, we can also, same time on Wednesday, that we'll be here. So with that, I'm going to say good night and God bless you.
Building the world on the chain, turning the future from cold to flame. Trust in the block, trust in the plan. Mediterra, here we stand. Mediterra, light the way. New tomorrow starts today. From the dust we rise.